Okay, so Darren got one of those triple eePCs, those little Fisher-Price overgrown versions of one of these things, and he drugged me out here on set, and he's like, "Oh, look, I have a triple eePC, and I have a wireless access point. What am I doing here?"
You're Watsoning for me because I can't do a segment alone. No, but truth be told, I'm going to show how to use the eePC, or basically any computer that you may have, but with BackTrack 3 and Aircrack-ng to crack WPA. So what is that, wired protected access?
Something like that?
Wi-Fi protected access.
Okay, yeah,
there
that's
we go.
what it is, yeah.
Yes, as opposed to WEP, which is wireless
encryption.
No, wired equivalency privacy.
Oh, is that what it is?
Yeah.
I thought it was like wireless encryption protocol or some crap like that. Everything's a protocol. So anyway, okay, so we've got the Fisher-Price toy.
Yes.
We've got a wireless access point.
There we go. Our access point, not your neighbors.
Not your neighbors. This is all about auditing.
Yeah, we want to make sure that our passwords are secure. But this is the age-old story. We're going to show you how insecure your crap can be if you don't use a decent password.
Yeah,
basically.
Just try. It's something you always have to worry about.
Cool.
Insecurity. Okay, so let's get down to the nuts and bolts. So we've got the triple eePC, which, on a quick side note, has an Atheros.
An Atheros.
Whatever.
Yeah, an Atheros Wi-Fi card, which is pretty cool because with BackTrack 3 beta, they've got the BackTrack 3 latest version has bad Wi-Fi drivers for the Atheros chip in here so that it can go into what's called monitor mode.
And monitor mode being different than promiscuous mode because monitor mode then allows us to just listen to any kind of Wi-Fi traffic around us as opposed to needing some kind of network association.
Exactly, yeah. So, anyone. So we're just seeing what's in the air.
Right, okay. So let's get down to the nuts and bolts. So you've got BackTrack 3 running right now. And so what's our first step?
Well, the first thing we need to understand is a little bit of how this works. And I'm not going to go into great detail about all of the intricacies of the encryption scheme and stuff like that, but I will link into the show notes. If this does interest you, there's some amazing reading, especially from Seth Fogey, I believe, has an awesome article that I'll link to that explains some of the more details about this. But what you need to understand is that this is only going to be for cracking WPA networks with PSK.
Which is pre-shared keys.
Exactly. So as opposed to some of the more intricate authentication methods that you would find like Radius in enterprise environments, PSK is what you would find in most home and small offices.
Right. Like your place.
Exactly. And the only vector of attack here is really to brute force the handshake.
More specifically, a dictionary attack.
Yes. Well, see, the thing is, the four-way handshake occurs when a client connects to the access point, and what we're going to be doing is trying to listen for one of those, and once we have one of those, we're going to run it past a dictionary attack, like you said. We're not going to try to brute force this because, honestly, the pre-shared key is from 8 characters to 63 characters, which would take...
Which can take literally hundreds of years for the maximum key length, because with each...
You figure if you've got if you could crack 3 million to 6 million, you could try 3 million to 6 million keys per day. Still, for an 8-character password, that's 200 million, I think.
So what it is?
Yeah, 200 million possibilities, I think, for an 8-character password. So
and that's full ASCII.
Yeah. So anyway,
so we've rambled enough. Let's get into the nuts and bolts. So I'm assuming we have to do a little bit of enumeration just to know what we're dealing with.
So first thing let's do is find out about our target. So for that, we're going to run Kismet. So fire up Kismet here, and let's go ahead and sort this. And there's our network, Hak5. So open that up, and I'm going to need a couple of key pieces of information. First off, verify it's WPA PSK. If it's not PSK, it's futile.
Find somebody else. Or
yeah. Okay. So the other thing we need is our BSSID. That's basically like the MAC address of the wireless network.
Right. Or the
so we want
access
to write
point.
all this stuff down. I got it over here in my little notepad because it's awesome. And we also need to know what channel it's on. It's channel 11. Okay. So we've got its BSSID. We've got the channel. Let's go ahead and start our wireless card in monitor mode. So for that, we want to use airmon-ng and stop ATH0, ATH0 being device for.
So we're basically
card.
stopping normal wireless usage right now.
Now we start it with Wi-Fi 0, which is our MAD Wi-Fi drivers on channel 11.
And now we've put it into monitor mode using the MAD Wi-Fi drivers.
Yes. So next thing you need to do is start up aerodump. Okay. So I've got the command here. Let's just go ahead and dissect this. Aerodump-ng with -C for 11. So we're looking just
channel
on channel
11.
--BSSID, and this is the BSSID of our Hak5 wireless access points that we got from Kismet. Now the -W parameter here tells it to save the file. We're saving them as PSK files. So it's going to make a PSK-1.cap, PSA-2.cap,
et cetera, et cetera. And we're using the ATH0 device.
Okay. So we've got that going on. We can see our BSSID here. We can see the beacons. We can see how much data is going through, the encryption type, et cetera, et cetera. Also down here are listed the clients that are connected to it. We can see this one right here, the very first one, is using quite a bit of, well, we've got some packets. So at least we know that we've got at least
somebody's
two clients.
actively using the wireless network.
So now, to get the handshake, since we already have 2 clients on the network, to get the handshake, there are 2 methods for grabbing it. One is passively, just meaning
waiting.
Let's sit here and wait for someone to connect. But let's speed it up because we're already 6 minutes into the segment. So let's deauth someone, right?
Right. Now deauth is all we're going to do is pass the client some packets, kind of just over the wireless network, even though we're not connected to it.
Yeah, but
we can pass them these deauth packets saying, "You're not allowed to be on here. You're not allowed to be on here. You're not allowed to be on here."
Not necessarily you're not allowed, but you know.
Your authorization is expired.
Yeah, exactly. And most operating systems will be like, oh, what? Okay, reconnect.
Let me pass you the key again to tell you I'm allowed to be here.
So let's just take a look at this command for that. It's airplay-ng, -0 for the deauth, -15 is how many deauth packets we're going to send.
Okay.
We could also change this 15 to a 0, and then that would just send infinite deauth packets. But that would
if you wanted to be malicious.
It is no fun.
Yeah.
So -A, here's the BSSID of our access point, and -C is the BSSID of our client here that we found from this step, and we can see he's still using tons of packets, so he's active. And then ATH0. Now there they go. And if we look over here,
now they're being deauthed.
There it is.
And already they got the handshake.
In the top right here, you can see WPA handshake. It found one because we deauthed that computer.
Right. And now, don't get confused when you see the handshake, because that's the handshake that's being done on the access point. So that's not the MAC address of the client
that you
it's
just
the MAC
deauthed.
address of, or the BSSID of the access point.
Now, finally, we run Aircrack-ng with the -W and our dictionary file. We just have a file here, DICT. It's a 40 megabyte word list, and I'll have links to get some word lists. This isn't a huge word list. It has several languages, common words, common passwords. You could
sex, God, love. No, I'm just kidding.
I can't remember the other ones. I feel so dumb now.
Those are the only 3 I can ever remember.
So now that's all I'm thinking about. So you could use a much bigger dictionary file.
Yeah, of course.
But,
whatever you could actually tote around with you.
So Aircrack-ng-W, our dictionary file, -B for the BSSID of the access point that we're trying to crack, and then PSK*.cap. We press enter, and here comes the fun part. Because you can see right here, it's just looking through all these right here, all these words. And hopefully it will, there it is. Key found Star Wars, which is a horrible, horrible password.
Yes.
Because it's in the dictionary.
Anything that's in the dictionary is a bad thing.
There we go.
Okay, so you're going to have show notes for everything?
Sure will.
Okay. Oh, quick little side note. The true reason this is out here
is Nintendo DS.
The Nintendo DS is you've got a spiffy little thing on here on your DXS, or DX.
Extreme mod chip. Anyway, if you've got a mod chip for your Nintendo DS and you can run homebrew, there's an awesome NDS file that will allow you to do deauths.
Yes, if you just want to be a jackass.
No, it's not for just being a jackass. It's because you can do this. You can run Aircrack-ng in Windows, but say like you don't have a nice card that can go into monitor mode. Say like you have a card that won't allow you to send deauth packets.
This is just a little side tool.
This is just your side tool, yeah. And basically, this AirPlay Nintendo DS homebrew app will allow you to choose the access point and send however many deauth packets you want. Keep in mind that the range is important when you're sending these deauths. it really matters like what your proximity is to the other clients. Just
So-
because the access point can see them, you need to be close enough so that
The client's getting the DOF package.
Exactly.
Okay, so
And this only has a wireless a wireless radio capable of sending, I believe, 2 megabits per second. It's not very powerful. So
you basically need to be sitting right beside the person.
it's a fun toy.
But
Yeah. You
but
could be like,
you're better off
oh,
using
hey,
something
I
like
tripped
this."
and de-offed your wireless.
It's like unplugging your network card by accident.
Yes.
Okay, so show notes.
Show notes on the wiki, and of course more articles in there that you can read that'll explain
Right.
much more about
Links
how
to
this
in-depth
works.
information and stuff like
Exactly.
that.
So, and hopefully that will change your mind just so slightly about the little hack top.
No, because when I actually get a working dual boot of OS 10 and
Yeah, on a
Linux, then
17-inch, not going to bring
it's a
that thing
15.
anywhere.
It's
All
a
right.
15.
2 pounds.
Yeah, I don't care.
Suck it.
You know,
All right.
I can do whatever I.
Okay.
You know what?
You-
I like mine.
All right.
And all my OpenGL.
I can
3D
do software
accelerated-
rendering.
Yeah, software.
DirectX 7 for the win.
Yeah. Anyway,
We're
all
out
right.
here. Peace. Hey, Chris. Let's tell the viewers about the Frets on Fire. They probably remember from the last episode of Hak5 Live, you came and you showed us how you rocking out with Frets on Fire on the eePC. It was a lot of fun.
Yes.
Not so much frames per second, but was a lot of fun.
Yes, it was a lot of fun.
So at the end of that segment, we were like, oh, this is so cool. You can make your own songs, and that's exactly what you did, right?
I took the Hak5 theme and took a chunk out of it, and basically just made a short little
So you
song
can rock
in Frets
out
on Fire.
to the Hak5 theme.
Yeah.
Cool.
So,
For those that aren't familiar with Frets on Fire, what's the back of the book version of that?
okay, Frets on Fire is like Guitar Hero for the PC, open source. You know, you can run it on. I think it runs on Linux, Mac OS X. The website is fretsonfire.sourceforge.net, and they link to all the community stuff and everything else.
Cool.
There. So it's basically Guitar Hero for your PC.
So what do you use to control it?
Normally, a lot of people use their keyboard, but you actually can use.
So you could get like a Model M keyboard and actually no?
Probably, but you actually can use your Guitar Hero because it has the Microsoft, the Xbox accessories drivers.
Okay.
Support.
So
any-
for your USB Xbox guitar, not so much for your PS2 or PS3, or do you need just one of those adapter things?
I think you can use it with an adapter.
Sweet.
Yeah.
And for the Xbox Live one, or Xbox One, I guess you're going to need some drivers.
Yeah, so it's the same drivers you use for your controllers. It's on the Microsoft site here. You don't use the XBCD drivers. Those won't work with this.
Okay.
I found that out the hard way. So, and basically, what I did was I went on, and there's a really good tutorial on these forums.
Okay,
the
so
Frets
this
on
is
Fire forums.
fretsonfire.net. This is a fan site.
There's tutorials here. Yeah, this fretsonfire.net and keyboardsonfire.net. They're basically the same kind of thing. And there's tutorials on both on how to do this. So,
Okay, so how did we take the Hak5 theme, the Season 1 Hak5 theme that we all know and love, and turn that into something you rock with?
with Audacity.
Audacity, that's
So
good.
here's
It's open source.
Audacity, and this is what it looked like after I got done editing it. I took a what does it look like, about 25-30 seconds out of it, and what you do is you get a file.
So you import your MP3 into Audacity.
Yep.
You choose your bit, and then we chose a bit here because we wanted to keep it short. Okay.
Yep. And then you can export it as what you do for this for FreeTAR editor is OGG Vorbis is what you need the format to be.
Another open source codec. I like it.
So after you export it as that, and you I put it into here. And there's a bunch of other ones that we were using. And here's the FreeTAR editor.
Okay, so we've exported it as OGG, then we can just import that into the FreeTAR editor. All right, so FreeTAR editor, what does that let us do?
This allows you to insert your notes. This is the fun part. This is where you get to actually, put the right notes for the right chords and everything in there. Typically, if you're going to do this with other songs, you would want the guitar tab. There's places you can find that online, and you would, compare it all up and put your notes in. So you take your OGG file, and you go in the FreeTAR editor. You create a new song. And then you just select
your OGG.
Ours was theme
so
short.
do we actually have the project open now?
I actually have it up right now.
Cool.
So
Let's see the notes.
So here's the. I'm gonna mute this for a second. So
Okay, I see it going over. So
there's a little bit of an intro before I start the notes, and then I think right around here.
So what is this track 0, 1, 2, 3, 4? Are those the buttons?
These are the buttons.
Okay. Oh, I see. Green, red, yellow, blue.
And since I already imported the song into Fred's on Fire, I can even show you how it works right now. Like I can do 1, 2, or I can even do it this way.
Okay, so you just press the numbers here on the keyboard when you hear the notes. Because this is playing back, we just have it muted.
Or you can go into the configured controller, do it this way, go back,
all right,
and
cool.
when you play it...
Okay, unmute it. So we can,
actually I have to turn the... yeah, I will unmute it.
All right.
And then press button to record. So if I wanted to add more notes... Oh, a little loud.
Yeah, that's cool.
So if I want to press more buttons that are already there, I can you know... Actually, I think I have to... Oh, I can't. Hang on. Press button to record, press strum to record. I think I already have it mapped to the keys.
Oh, okay.
So I had remapped it.
But it's one of the options. So if you're really...
you can actually hook this up. Yeah, if you know the song, and you can go into the editor and actually play it like you're doing it, and it's actually easier than doing the 1 through 5.
Okay. So now that we've done it, so we've converted our MP3 to an OGG, we've brought it into FreeTAR.
So for FreeTAR...
Wow, how do we get that into...
Okay. You're going to save it.
Fire.
And it saves it as a .sng. You just put it in wherever you want to save it to. It doesn't really matter right now.
All right.
And then you can just minimize that. And you take that song file.
That SNG that we just made.
And you have to go back onto the internet. And in the tutorial, it links you, and we'll have this link in the show notes as well. This is it's nuclear.ch/FOF tools. And this is basically online converter to convert the song file into the actual Fred's on Fire mid format.
Oh, okay.
So that's all it does. You click, I have to allow the site again, my no script.
Gotcha.
You click here, oops, and depending on what difficulty you want it to be, so when you create it, you can make easy, hard, and then this will actually make it it'll put the right tags on it, so then when Fred's on Fire opens it, it knows where to put it.
Ah, I see.
So you just browse, find your song file, and put it in there, convert it.
And then it lets you just download a .mid file?
Yep.
That's like MIDI.
I'm not sure if it's quite MIDI per se, but it's a .mid.
Okay.
Yeah, it says MIDI sequence. All it's doing basically is taking your notes and matching them up with the OGG file.
Gotcha.
So the Frets program reads that.
So what do you have to give to the Frets program now to play it?
What you do is the same OGG file you just had before, you paste it into the data songs directory in Fred's on Fire.
Okay.
And then you rename one to guitar.ogg, and then paste it again, and then rename the other one to song.ogg. So you're putting the same file in there twice.
Okay.
You're just naming one song and one guitar, so that it knows how to read it. So without further ado, once those are all in there, there's one more step that you have to do that's in the tutorial, and this is the, and I'll just open it.
Song.ini?
Yeah, let me just open it. And you just basically, it actually does a lot of this for you. You copy and paste something. They tell you how to do it.
Great, and this is where we put the name and the artist.
The only stuff you have to edit is this stuff right down here, the name of the artist.
Okay, so the Hak5 theme by Ashley Witt.
Yep, and you just save that in there, and once you do that...
We ready to rock now?
We are ready to rock.
All right, let's rock.
Let me open up Fred's on Fire. Now I have a lot of icons, I know. And here we go.
Oh, our porcelain friend isn't here. That's all right.
So I already have it configured with my controller.
Okay.
I'm going to play the game. And there's some others, and actually it came right up. There it is.
Great.
And I did it once already, so we're gonna do this again. All right. So medium difficulty, because it's the only one I made right now. If you made different versions of it, they'll show up here.
Okay, cool. So let's do medium.
So I'm gonna try to do this. Now these notes are a little, since the theme has a lot of horns in it, it's not really guitar. I think there's a guitar theme. We'll have to.
There's guitar going on in this. Wondering if this will ever expand to like Rock Band, where you get to make the drum part and the. Oh, that's cool. This is something that I've always wanted to do. Just ever since playing the first guitar, it would be like, oh, wouldn't it be so awesome if we could play our own theme? And you totally did it.
And I stopped him at that because, you can do a lot more.
Yeah, you can do a much longer song.
Just
but
for
as a demo,
the sake of
and you got 4 stars. Way to rock!
Woo!
Yeah.
Yes.
Awesome. 89% accuracy on a song you even built yourself.
I should have done a lot better than that.
Well, we can't all rock as good as Paul.
I guess not. I guess not.
Well, dude, thank you so much for bringing this. I mean, this is a really great, fun segment. I had a lot of fun watching you.
I'm gonna actually
I
go
can't
back.
wait to get the full version.
I'm gonna try to do the whole song, and I'll have it up on the wiki and everything.
Cool. So we're gonna put this in the show notes in the forum so everybody can rock along with us.
Absolutely.
Sweet. All right.
So.
Well, then I guess the only thing we need to let them know is that they can find out all about Frets on Fire at, what is it, Frets on Fire?
fretsonfire.sourceforge.net.
Sweet. And they can find out about you and your rockness over at
chrisgerling.com.
That's the place. Thank you, Chris.
You bet.
Why just get a domain name when you can get it all? Register your domain name with GoDaddy.com, the #1 domain registrar worldwide, and get free hosting with a website builder, a free blog, a complete email, and much, much more. Plus, as a fan of Hak5, enter code HAK3, that's hack and the number 3, and get your .com name for just $6.95 a year. Get your piece of the internet at GoDaddy.com. Go GoDaddy!
So last month's trivia question was, TDM and FDM are examples of fixed link sharing technologies. That's a mouthful. Here comes a bigger one. What variable multiplexing alternative is stated to be in the next revision of EVDO? Technobabble.
Would you like a glass of water?
Yeah, really. And the correct answer would be statistical multiplexing, and that was correctly answered by Jeb.
Dude, do you remember when we looked this up last month, coming up with a trivia question? It was a lot of fun because okay, it's just pretty cool because it's like basically the difference between constant bit rate and variable bit rate. So if you've got a whole bunch of spectrum and only this many users, they all get a lot more of the pool, and then when you get more users, it just squeezes everyone down. Yeah, it's good stuff.
It's kind of neat. So this month's trivia question
This month's trivia question is, the NEC V20 processor, a 29,000 transistor CPU, was reverse engineered to be pin compatible with what Intel chip? And there's a lot of fun history behind this one, so if you do know the answer off the top of your head, make sure you email trivia@hak5.org, and if you have to look it up, make sure to just read about it, because it's pretty cool history. We'll talk about next month.
So right now?
Right now, we go to the next segment, which would be the one
right
that you're about to
after
see.
the sponsors.
Or could have played right before this. I'm not sure.
Wow. Okay, so hey, what's up, everybody? I know I've done a lot of projects in the past that people have emailed me and messaged me and every other form of communication you can possibly get a hold of me with, and asked, well, that's all cool and all, and I really want to do it, but I've never done anything like that before, or, anything along those lines. And I never really have any good advice for them other than to go and do it. But I know how intimidating that can be when it involves ripping apart something that's perfectly good to harvest parts out of it, and you don't want to break it and not have anything, have two broken things instead of your end product. A good way to hone those modding skills that you so awesomely desire is buying kits. Specifically, the one I have here is the Herbie the Mousebot kit from Solarbotics at solarbotics.com. And like I said, Herbie here is a kit. It comes completely all-inclusive. All you need is a soldering iron and solder to put him together. That's it. They provide everything else. And if you take a look at Herbie here, what Herbie is, he's a little robot, kind of a little autonomous thing, and his two little black eyes right there, see, that's them right there, they chase light. The little IR photoreceptor things, I forget their technical name right now, but what they do is they sense infrared light and make him turn in the direction of the light. His little whiskers up here are backup sensors, so when they run into something, he just kind of backs up and keeps going. Same thing with his tail here. That's what the little loop's for. Same thing. If we look at his head here, these are all the solder points for most of the major electronics. They're very, very easy to work with. Herbie here actually falls in the kind of intermediate to novice hobbyist. If you look under his belly here, Here's his 2 motors that make them go. There's an IC chip, which has... IC chip, that's a little redundant. The IC that is the brains of the operation. A capacitor, on-off switch. Resistor, bunch more traces and stuff. And if you look, he's actually held together with solder. But what's so cool about these solder points is that they're still functional. They still carry signal. This is a relay, and that relay is what actually sends him into reverse. A couple more solder points, battery bay. And he's not overly complicated in the slightest. He looks intimidating, but all these kits are pretty much self-explanatory. And here's the directions. Nothing special. Except for the fact that they have nice, big pictures, and everything's written in plain English. And on top of that, if you look real closely here on the PCB, let's focus. There we go. Look, labeled LED. It was optional, so I didn't put it on. But there's pictures, and they tell you the square is negative, circle is positive. Great little gifts. And what's another cool thing about Herbie is that LED is actually an infrared LED that you can hook up. So he'll play with other Herbies too, and they'll chase each other and stuff. So you get 2 of them going, plus your cats and your dog. It's fun for hours. I kid you not. It's hysterical to watch them go. Now, as I mentioned before, Herbie's made by the Solarbotics company, Solarbotics.com. And the proceeds from all of their kits go to the KISS Institute for Practical Robotics. They're doing it for the kids. It's an institute, it's a nonprofit organization that they use simple robotics for teaching kids science and math and project management and all sorts of other stuff like that. So for some of you that might have kids already that are old enough to not try to cauterize a wound with a soldering iron, or cause one, cauterize, cause. It's something to think about. It'd just be a really, really good thing. I'll have a link to Solarbotics in the show notes, and I'll take some high-res pictures of Herbie here so you can get a really, really good look of what's going on, because I know compression can ruin it. So check them out if you want to just get into modding or a gift for somebody you know that likes electronics and stuff like that. www.solarbotics.com.
So maybe you got a new MP3 player for Christmas and you're wondering what to do with the old one. You want to do a little hacking, or maybe you're upset with the current firmware on your existing MP3 player. Well, we've got the solution, or at least Chris Gerling. Thank you for coming down once again to show us Rockbox.
Rockbox, yes. So basically, Rockbox is an open source firmware for MP3 players. Works on iPods, iRivers, just all kinds of different.
Toshiba, SanDisk, Apple, all sorts
pretty
of.
Much most of the popular MP3 players will work on.
Cool. So it's a replacement firmware. So we're wiping out the current operating system here on this 5th gen iPod.
It actually doesn't wipe it out.
Okay.
It just puts a bootloader on there and boots into it.
Oh, is it grub?
Mm-hmm.
That's pretty.
I'm not sure if it's grub. But
okay.
It's something along that line. It's pretty transparent.
And this is Linux based and open source, so I'm imagining it's pretty extendable.
Oh yes.
So
constantly being worked on.
What kind of features do we have on this as opposed to the stock firmware you would get on your regular MP3 player?
The main ones that I can let's see here. The main ones that I can think of right off the bat is playlist functionality. You can actually build and edit playlists on this thing. Whereas with the iPod, you have to do it in iTunes, and you have to. It's kind of a pain.
Well, they've got the on-the-go playlist, but you're talking about actually putting together
real playlists.
Okay, cool.
Whatever you have up, you can just select a bunch of songs from it and create a playlist.
That's cool.
It has all kinds of different applications, like text editor. I think it has a dictionary.
I don't know if I'd be using a text editor on
probably
an
not
iPod.
a text. Yeah, it's probably not something. It's more of a novelty thing, but there's a calculator on here that is actually pretty good. There are a lot of different applications, games, lots of different games.
Yeah, you were showing me some of those games. You want to actually just show us one of those right now, because they look really cool.
Yeah, I will. We'll go to that. So we can get a good shot.
And yes, I'm just gonna hold the camera here because that's how we do it.
And we go to plugins, games, and so here they all are. It starts up with Blackjack, Bubbles, Doom.
Bubbles is a great game.
Yes, Bubbles actually is. Yeah, let me load that up. and it tells you there's some instructions, and basically I just play to start. And this one's cool because it uses the actual sliding functionality, and I think that blue goes over there. There we go. And the red one goes right there. So
if you've played Bobble Bobble, this is very similar.
It's pretty much.
So a lot better than the standard iPod games, at least.
Oh, absolutely.
And who knows if your iRiver or any of those came with games at all.
Yes.
Most important question, and this is one that Paul would be familiar with. Does it play Doom?
Oh, yes. It does play Doom. Here we go.
So this isn't the regular Doom WAD.
It uses the free Doom WAD.
If you're not familiar with free Doom, you might want to Google that. It's pretty much a how Doom is open source, but the WAD files aren't. Well, it's basically a free WAD, so you can get all the graphics and maps and stuff that has been made by the community, and it's very similar to the original Doom experience.
So you move around, punch, get your gun up like this.
See if you can take out that imp
before they get to me here. Oh, they already. And then I can move forward. Oh, there's another one.
So what about the playback? What is the audio features like?
That's one of the most important things, actually. There's 15 different formats supported, and I think they actually have there's actually a feature page on here. Here we go. So it goes from MPEG audio to OGG Vorbis, AAC, Wave, obviously, FLAC. There's FLAC support.
That's great, because that's something that a lot of people would love in their iPod.
Mm-hmm. And then some other things, Monkey's audio. I haven't actually heard of that one. It'll play MIDIs. I mean, it'll play all kinds of things. And it actually has a list here of the different players and what they actually play. So
cool. And you were telling me earlier that it even has like a lot of custom like playback options. So if you really, so it looks like it was engineered by audiophiles.
If I go out of this, so there's settings, and then there's sound settings in here, which is some basic stuff, which has like bass cutoff. Channel configuration, like if there's even a karaoke mode in there. Crossfade, equalizer settings, dithering, has dithering. And then if you go under general settings and to playback, and this is where you get into the really neat stuff. Anti-skip, there's some, I don't see it in this menu. There's gapless playback, but it's not in this menu. It even has Last.fm support. So if you have Last.fm installed on your computer, the only thing with that is it has to be, I think you have to sync it in iTunes in order for it to sync. Okay. But other than that, it works great.
So where can people, what do you do to install it?
Okay, you basically download the installer. There's a Windows installer from rockbox.org. There's other ways, they have all the tutorials and everything for Linux and however whichever way you want to do it.
So you've got it on Windows right here, so let's take a look at that installer.
Here's the Rockbox utility, and when you first load it, it'll come up with this quick start kind of tab. And if it doesn't just detect your device right away, you have to just click change and tell it where it is and what it is, and it sees it. And you just click the complete installation button, and it'll put all the games and applications and everything on there.
Sounds really plug and play.
Yeah, definitely. And if you wanted to do it manually, you could just do the regular bootloader and Rockbox and then add things as you wanted to.
Sounds a little bit easier to install than Linux Doom when we tried that last year. Only slightly, but and I like the ability that you can switch between the operating systems and the bootloader. So it really sounds like a fun thing that people might want to try out. Where can they find this?
Rockbox.org.
Awesome. And Chris, where can people find any more information about all the fun stuff you do?
ChrisGerling.com.
ChrisGerling.com. That's the place.
Okay, so that's pretty much going to wrap up this episode of Hak5. As always, we have a little housekeeping to do at the end of every show. First and foremost is you wanted to get like a quick revisit to your...
Yes, the remote assistant segment from last month. Got a lot of great responses from that. People sending them some really good feedback. And one of the programs or services I'd like to mention, an alternative to the one-click VNC that I showed last month, was a service called Crossloop. You can find out more at crossloop.com, and you can see here it's basically a web service for doing the same thing, and a lot of people have mentioned this. I also would like to invite you guys to continue sending your feedback, because this is a segment that I would like to revisit and maybe do like the best of remote assistance applications.
Kind of do like a little roundup.
There we go.
This is good for this. This is good for that.
Love to do that. Feedback at hak5.org.
Alrighty. Also is the WYSIWYG comic.
Yes, this is the first issue of WYSIWYG, and the first issue is about phreaking. The second issue is about hacking. This is by Ed Piskor, and I found out about this on the Hak5 forums, and it's a really cool graphic novel that that kind of follows the life of this kid Kevin, who has a similar life to another hacker by the name of Kevin Mitnick, maybe. And you know, it just shows his like early exploits, learning about phreaking and about social engineering, and it's pretty cool. I mean, the guy that does this is a really good artist.
Yeah, and it also references young Wozniak and Jobs with
the blue boxes.
The blue boxes, and also has him in the the Alice in Wonderland costumes.
Yes, definitely. I mean, this is, you know, he's definitely a great graphic artist, and from speaking with him, he seems really enthralled with, you know, the whole hack and phreak subculture. As a ex-phreak myself, I was just kind of like, as soon as I saw it, I had to pick one up. It was like $15 at edpiskor.com/WYSIWYG, HTML at the bottom of the screen.
Right, and there'll be a link.
Yes, and I think he even posted something in our forum saying that if this is something that you think is really neat, you can, I'll have a link to the forum thread where he offers that if you want to pick a copy of this up and send an email to him with like your handle, he'll try to work your handle into the next issue.
Very cool.
Yeah. So,
alrighty, so next is, I have to thank DreamHost as always.
Yes, DreamHost.com. They've been keeping us on the webs, on the intertubes, if you will.
For, since the beginning.
Yes, there you go. And 500
Since the whole
gigs.
crazy thing began.
500 gigs of disk storage, 5 terabytes of monthly bandwidth.
One-click
Ruby on
installs
Rails.
of all sorts of Web 2.0 goodies.
Yeah.
Don't forget coupon code HAK5, HAK5 for $25 off your purchase for web hosting at DreamHost.
Thank you, DreamHost.
Yay. Was there anything else we had to go over?
ShmooCon.
Yeah. ShmooCon, that's coming up in February. Hak5 is going to be there.
Yes, it's the 15th through the 17th.
We're going to
DC.
attempt to broadcast live. That'll be an interesting experience.
Yeah.
It worked well at ECL. We'll see how it works up at ShmooCon.
We'll have to show you the broadcast console next month because it's growing. It's getting crazy.
Yeah, it's pretty sweet now. And also, even if you didn't get your tickets to ShmooCon, there is the podcast meetup there, which you do not have to be an attendee to
and you
attend.
can find out more information about that at www.podcastersmeetup.com. And our good friend Mubix is putting that on, so we thank him because I think he's supplying the free beer.
Yeah, I think there's free beer and free food, so if there's ever a reason to...
Free as in beer.
Yes.
As in Mubix, give me some free beer.
Rock
There we
on.
go. So yeah, that just about wraps it up.
So, yep, I think so. So, as always...
That's Wes.
That's Darren. And we're reminding you to trust your technolust.
You're the companion cube.
Missed.
Real quick. I'll fix this in post. Just reconnect the Cat5 because the Cat5 doesn't have any tabs on the ends of it, so it probably fell out.